Peace to you, my friend. Thank you for joining me here. I invite you, before we begin, to take a breath. Not just a breath for your body, but one for your spirit. Inhale. Feel it. Now slowly let it go. Let's begin this conversation, not just with ears, but with your presence. Today's reflection is inspired by something Carl Jung once said. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. What if I told you that love, real love, often lives in that unconscious realm? It doesn't always arrive with fireworks and bold declarations. Sometimes it shows up quietly, in hesitations, in glances, in a kind of reverent silence. Sometimes he's more in love with you than even he knows. And if you're attentive, if you are fully here, you will see the signs. Let me share a story. Years ago, before I took my final vows, I lived in a monastery on a hill above a river valley. We were only a few monks, and we lived simply. No phones, no clocks, just the rhythm of breath and bell. There was a young monk in training named Tenzin. Quiet, thoughtful, never one to speak much. He would tend the garden every morning. And there, day after day, he would plant seeds not just in the soil, but in his way of being. One morning, I watched him pause over a single wildflower growing by the path. He didn't pluck it. He didn't even touch it. He just looked at it, for a long time, as if it were speaking to him. Later, I asked him why he stopped. He simply said, "I saw how she grew toward the sun, even though the mountain cast her in shade." Sometimes love doesn't speak in grand gestures. Sometimes it's in how someone sees you when you think no one is looking, how they grow quiet. When you speak, how their hands tremble just a little when they reach to give you something. Sometimes it's in what they don't say, because words fail where the heart begins. Carl Jung understood this deeply. He believed our souls speak, a language older than words. And in that ancient language, affection hides in the unconscious mind, leaking out in dreams, in slips of the tongue, in the stories we tell without realizing we are revealing ourselves. Let's not rush. You see, in our modern world, we are so quick to demand clarity, to ask, "Do you love me?" As if love were a contract to be signed. But the truth is, love is revealed over time, not just through confirmations, but through contemplations. Let me ask you, have you ever had someone who seemed unsure, distant, maybe even clumsy with their feelings? But somehow you felt something deeper was happening behind their silence? That's not an accident. That's the unconscious love Jung spoke about. Now, I don't mean you should wait forever for someone who will never step forward. No. But I invite you to watch, not with desperation, but with curiosity. When you're present, truly present, you'll see signs you would have otherwise missed. The way he listens, how he softens when you're around, how he protects your name when you're not in the room. In the monastery, we call this listening between the bells. It's the awareness of what exists in the silence between moments, not just in the moments themselves. We must also talk about the ego, the one that shouts, "I must know, I must be told." But true wisdom whispers, "I will observe, I will feel, I will understand." It is this patient stillness that reveals the truth, not just about others, but about yourself. Have you ever tried to understand your own feelings and realized you were more in love with someone than you previously admitted to yourself? That's the mirror of the unconscious. And it works both ways. You see, just as he may not fully know how much he feels for you, perhaps you haven't fully recognized what you need. Maybe what you long for is not love from someone else, but the feeling of being deeply seen, understood, and valued. In the monastery, we learn that longing isn't a weakness. Longing is the doorway. It is the beginning of the path that leads inward. So if you feel unloved, if you feel uncertain, Let that feeling lead you, not toward more questions, but toward your own stillness, toward your own self. I remember an elder monk telling me, to be loved is beautiful, but to be seen without needing to be loved, that is peace. That stayed with me, because when you no longer grasp for proof of affection, you start to become a vessel for deeper connection. Love, that is unconscious, that is buried, doesn't stay buried forever. It emerges when the soil is soft, when we're vulnerable, when we're safe. So ask yourself, are you offering safety to the one you think may love you? And more importantly, are you offering that safety to yourself? We must till the soil before the flower blooms. Let's take another breath together. This is not just about relationships, it's about awakening. Awakening to how we project, how we seek, how we misunderstand our own hearts. The signs we look for in others are often the signs we deny in ourselves. Soft background music swells slightly, a subtle chime rings. And so, my friend, I leave you here at the riverbank of awareness. We are only beginning. This conversation will continue, and in the next part, I will share with you how to truly read these signs, not just in others, but in your own soul. We'll explore how to use mindfulness to see love with clear eyes, and how to walk away from illusions with compassion. This is only the beginning. Until then, be still, be curious, and remember, sometimes the heart knows before the mind can name it. Welcome back, my friend. Let us return to this space together. Just as the river doesn't rush but flows, so too should wisdom unfold, slowly, patiently. Let the outside world grow quiet again. Breathe in with awareness. Breathe out with intention. Now that we've begun to explore the silent language of love, the unspoken emotion that Carl Jung suggested lives in the unconscious, let us go further. Let us walk together through the garden of signs, the subtle indicators that someone, perhaps he, is more in love with you than even he realizes. But before we decode his signs, let me share another story. In the monastery, there lived a man named Dorja, a visitor, not a monk, but a traveler who stayed with us for one season during the rains. He had lived much of his life in worldly pursuits, business, family, ambition. He came to us exhausted, not from failure, but from noise. Not the noise of sound, but the noise of expectation. One evening, as we sat by the candlelight after evening meditation, he confessed, "There was a woman. I never told her what she meant to me. I didn't even know myself until she left. And, by then, the silence between us had become too wide. I asked him, 'Did you ever show her?' He answered, 'I think I did. I just didn't know that's what I was doing.' Ah, there it is. You see, the unconscious doesn't send letters or speak in declarations. It whispers in gestures. It speaks in the lingering look, the remembered detail, the unexpected offering of comfort. This is why Jung insisted we must observe the unconscious. Otherwise, it moves us without our knowing. So now, let's return to you. Have you noticed when he remembers small things you didn't even realize you said? When he sits a little closer than necessary, but not so close to seem obvious? When he offers help without being asked, and yet never calls it help? These are the echoes of a heart still discovering its own truth. But here is the important part. Do not chase these signs. Don't collect them like trophies. Don't turn them into proof. Love is not a courtroom. It's a temple. And the way we honor it is not by demanding confession, but by cultivating presence. Let me offer you a practice. When you feel confusion about someone's feelings, pause. Close your eyes. Say quietly, "I do not seek to be chosen. I seek only to be clear." If love is here, let it reveal itself in time. If it is not, Let me release it in peace. Repeat this when your mind spins in doubt. Let it bring you back to the stillness where clarity lives. You know, when a person is truly in love, even unconsciously, they become protective, not possessive, but tender. They may fumble their words, seem unsure, or even act distant at times. Why? Because love makes us vulnerable, especially for those who have not yet learned how to sit with their own feelings. Love feels like both a gift and a storm. Jung would say, "This is the ego battling the shadow, the part of us we hide from the world, even from ourselves." And love often lives in the shadow before it's allowed to come into the light. So be patient, be aware, but also be honest with yourself. If the signs never evolve into words, if the feelings are never met with action, then perhaps he is more in love with the idea of you than with you. That's a hard truth, I know, but it's also freedom, because true love doesn't stay silent forever. When the soil is safe, when the space between two people is free of fear, love blossoms. First, through subtle signs, and then through sacred clarity. We once had a lesson in the monastery. If a candle is meant to burn beside you, it will light without being forced. So your task is not to light every candle. Your task is to become the calm that allows the flame to find you. Let me take you to a deeper reflection before we pause. Sometimes the most important question isn't, does he love me? But rather, am I loving myself in his presence? When you're with him, do you feel seen, or do you feel like you must earn that gaze? Do you feel calm or anxious, grounded or drifting? The unconscious knows. Your body knows. That's why mindfulness is so important, not just to observe others, but to observe yourself, to track how your breath changes around someone, to notice whether you shrink or expand in their presence. Because sometimes he may be more in love with you than he knows. But the deeper question is, are you at peace in that love? If not, then your path may not be toward his heart, but back toward your own. Today, I promise to share with you something sacred, the 3 gateways of loving awareness. These are not rules, they are not methods, they are doors. And like all doors, they don't force you in. They simply wait for you to walk through when you are ready. In our monastery, these gateways were offered to young monks not as theology, but as a way of practicing love. Not just romantic love, but the kind of awareness that makes love sacred, enduring, and transformative. Let me guide you through them now. Gateway 1, the mirror of presence. Before we know how someone feels about us, we must first ask, what do I reflect in their presence? When you're around him, do you feel like your most awake self? Do you speak freely, laugh without shrinking, dream without apology? Or do you find yourself managing his comfort at the cost of your truth? A man in unconscious love will often be drawn to your light, even if he doesn't fully understand it. He may linger near you, ask you questions, want your presence, but not know why. He is seeing his soul in you. That's powerful, but it's also dangerous, because if he hasn't yet made peace with himself, he may love you like a mirror, not a person. To pass through this first gateway is to ask, does his presence awaken my wholeness, or am I only whole when he reflects me back to myself? If the latter, you are standing at the first gate, but not yet through it. Gateway 2, the weight of silence. This is the most difficult of the 3, because silence is where many truths live. A monk once told me, you'll know a person by how they hold your silence. Not how they fill it, or how they fix it, but how they hold it. When you sit in silence with him, does he reach to distract you? Or can he sit with the quiet and still meet you in it? This gateway asks you to become very still within yourself, Because if he is more in love with you than he knows, that love will tremble in the silence. It will flicker, like a candle in a cave, uncertain but undeniable. You will see it in his eyes, feel it in his pauses, hear it in the way his breath catches before he speaks. This is not romantic silence. It's sacred. It's the silence of something becoming. If he rushes to fill it, he is afraid of it. If he can sit in it, he may be ready to face what he truly feels. So ask yourself, is he holding the silence or avoiding it? Gateway 3. The fire of action. This is the final gate, the one few cross, because ultimately, love must move. It must become action. Carl Jung once said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." This is true in love more than anywhere else. Words are wind, beautiful, fleeting. But action is rooted. A man who is more in love with you than he knows may hesitate. He may falter, but eventually he will move toward you, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, consistently. He will show up, even awkwardly, even imperfectly. If he doesn't, then it's not your task to chase him through the doorway. Your task is to walk forward alone through your own doorway of wholeness. Because here's the truth, most are afraid to say, sometimes someone's unconscious love is not meant to become conscious in this life. Not because they don't feel it, but because they aren't ready to live it. Let that sink in gently. We cannot wait forever at the gates of someone else's fear. If the mirror of presence dims you, if the weight of silence leaves you aching, if the fire of action never warms your life, then it is not unkind to walk away. It is wise. You deserve love that rises to meet you, not just in signs and symbols, but in steps and sanctuary. Let me share a final story before we close this page. A young woman once visited our temple, heartbroken. She said, "I think he loved me, but he never told me. He never came back." I asked her, "What makes you think he loved you?" She replied, "Because he treated me like I mattered, but then he disappeared." I told her gently, "Some people plant flowers they are too afraid to water. That doesn't mean the flower wasn't real. It just means it didn't grow," she cried. And then she breathed. So I say to you, yes, he may be more in love with you than he knows, but the deeper wisdom lies not in whether he does, but in whether you are becoming the kind of person who no longer needs to be guessed at, decoded, or almost loved. You deserve conscious love, awake love, love that acts, not just feels. In the final part of our conversation, I will guide you through the letting go ritual of the heart, a meditative practice we use when love is unfinished, when closure never comes, and when your soul is ready to move forward even if your story isn't complete. We'll also speak about how to prepare yourself to receive the kind of love that doesn't live in shadow, but walks with you in the light. Until then, let the mirror reflect your truth. Let the silence teach you peace. Let the fire warm your own path first. You are already loved. You are already whole. Welcome, my dear companion, on this journey. We've walked together through silence and signs, through the subtle pull of love unspoken, through the gateways of presence, silence, and action. You've listened not just with your ears, but with your heart. And now, as we reach the close of this circle, I want to offer you the most sacred practice of all, the art of letting go with love. Because sometimes, the truth we fear to face is the one that frees us the most. Letting go doesn't mean erasing. It doesn't mean you were wrong, or they were cruel, or the love wasn't real. Letting go means allowing what was real to remain beautiful, even if it never became whole. In our monastery, we say, attachment asks, "How can I keep this?" Love asks, How can I honor this, even as it leaves? So now, let me walk you through the letting go ritual of the heart. A gentle, soul-healing practice that I give only to those ready to close a chapter with reverence, not regret. The letting go ritual of the heart step. 1. Set the space. Sit somewhere quiet. Light a candle if you can. Not for magic, but for meaning. Let the flame represent your heart, alive, warm, flickering with memory. Step 2. Speak the unsaid. Close your eyes. Imagine him before you, not perfect, not flawed, just human. Say aloud or in your mind all that you never got to say. I saw you trying, even when you couldn't say the words. I wanted to be chosen by you, but I choose myself now. I forgive you, and I forgive me too, for holding on so long. Speak until the silence feels full, not empty. Step 3. Return what was never yours. Say softly, I release the version of you that only existed in my hopes. I return to myself, whole, free, grateful. Then breathe in, deeply. Let your ribs expand. And as you exhale, imagine his energy leaving your field, like mist lifting off morning grass. You are not banishing. You are blessing what you're no longer carrying. Step 4. Anchor in the now. Touch your heart gently. Feel its rhythm. Feel your presence. Say, I am enough. I am loved. I am already complete. Then blow out the candle. Let the smoke carry your release. Letting go doesn't erase the love. It honors it. It allows it to return to source, purified, unburdened, holy. Perhaps he was more in love with you than he knew. But now you know something deeper. That love is not meant to remain stuck in the unconscious. It is meant to rise, to breathe, to become conscious, not only in them, but in you. You no longer need to wait for his recognition to validate your worth. You no longer need to hold on to half gestures, silent maybes, and dreams deferred. Because the love that is meant for you will not whisper forever. It will arrive, clear, present, and unafraid. I leave you with one final story. An elder monk once said to me, "The heart is not a container, it is a sky. Some clouds pass and bring rain, others disappear, but the sky remains, vast, open, and ready for the sun. So become the sky. Let love pass through you, not stick to you. Let every person who walks through your life leave you with more clarity, not less. And when the right love comes, it will not confuse you. It will not leave you guessing. It will stand before you like the sunrise, unmistakable, unmissable, and yours to receive. Until then, let your solitude be a sanctuary. Let your path be guided by clarity. And let your heart remain open, not because you are waiting, but because you are ready. Thank you for walking this path with me. May peace find you in the stillness, and may your soul remember that you are already whole. If this message touched you, share it. Let it ripple through others who may be carrying the same questions in their silent hearts. And if you feel called, subscribe. Sit with me again. There is much more to speak of, but for now, be still, be kind, and walk gently with yourself.